you look at Dirt 4's Metacritic scores, you'll see a wide variety of opinions on the game, but with the benefit of hindsight, is this really as bad as some of the user scores suggest, or even as good as the journalists say? Well, let's find out. But first, a word from our sponsor, me. If you're new around here, I've got a playlist of my favourite videos, so go watch after this. As usual, the video doesn't include multiplayer, as I'm too bad to play with other humans, and there are obviously parts of this game I'm gonna forget or gloss over, so remind me of my mistakes in the comments. So at the main menu we have a good variety of gameplay types: career, competitive, free play, Dirt Academy, and Joyride. Let's go with the career, and it's at the top of the list. From here we have 4 track types, or disciplines as mentioned here: Rally, Land Rush, Rallycross, and Historic Rally. Starting off with the Rally mode, we see a familiar yet visually more realistic interpretation of the rally formula seen in Dirt 3. As of yet, I haven't properly played Dirt Rally, so I'm not going to make any comparisons to that game in this video. The gameplay is solid, and I found myself enjoying it more the longer I played. The length of each race was very well done in my opinion. Each race is about 2 to 3 minutes long, and they have a good variety of corners, bumps, and right angles. There are a few things that I feel could have been improved, however. The scenery to each stage gets very repetitive the more you replay each stage, so some more buildings and other objects would have gone a long way, although in first person it's much less noticeable. The physics can fight with you at times. I found myself frustrated when the car literally flipped out after grazing a corner for seemingly no reason. Finally, the directions given by the co-pilot. For the most part this was fine, but occasionally the directions were a little too late for my taste. This could very well be my fault, but I feel like an extra 1 or 2 seconds could have been a great benefit. Next up is a Land Rush mode. This is very similar to the mode of the same name in Dirt 3, but feels more simulation rather than arcade, a running theme in this game. Laps are back on smaller stages, but unlike the Rallycross mode, these stages only feature terrain such as dirt and sand, hence buggy-like vehicles are required. I enjoy the larger track size as it gives me flexibility when overtaking, among other maneuvers, and the raw horsepower of the cars on the straights make you feel better as a human being than your friends for exactly 2 seconds. My main issue with this mode, however, are the corners. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but many of the corners are basically right angles, if not hairpin turns. If I'm going over 100 miles per hour and all of a sudden a right angle appears, what am I meant to do other than crash? As these stages are usually 1 minute or less per lap, these corners appear a lot more frequently than they should. Then there's the Rallycross mode. These stages feature a mix of both tarmac and dirt-like terrain with laps. There's not much difference to Land Rush, other than that and the cars. Now you drive hyper hatchbacks, which makes the corner problem from before slightly worse, although they are a bit easier to control on tarmac. One feature I did really enjoy is the Joker. No, not that one. The Joker is a mode that means once per lap, each opponent, both AI and player, have to take an extra corner or part of the map to extend that lap's time by a few seconds, if that makes sense. It adds an extra layer of strategy to keep the player engaged, whilst not being so much of a challenge that it distracts from gameplay. Finally, there's a Historic Rally mode. This is a bit baffling to me, as it's literally just rally, but with retro cars such as the Mini Cooper and Peugeot 205, so why wasn't it in the rally section? If you know, please leave it in the comments. Regardless, it's still as good, or as bad depending on your preference, as the main rally mode. Now that we're done with the career, let's get competitive, or not I guess. Apparently this is a multiplayer mode, and yeah. So we'll do the community stages I guess. These stages feel like they were made specifically to punish me, because everything is against you. For each stage there's no restarts. The main game limits you to 10, but you can change that in the difficulty settings. The laps are at least 7 minutes, yes, 7 minutes long. The gameplay for this track in particular lasted over 10 minutes, not including the snow, corners and narrow track. Despite all these odds, it's actually quite fun. It's enjoyable on how frustrating it is. Did I mention you can only play it once? Then there's free play. I don't know why it's not called arcade mode or something, but it's basically the usual. Choose a discipline, car, difficulty, laps, track, etc. if you don't feel like playing career mode. I'm not sure why you choose this over Joyride, but to each their own. Next is Dirt Academy. This is essentially the tutorial. I do quite like that it's a separate mode, rather than being forced onto you when you play. Or did they make you initially? I can't remember. So you can learn the ins and outs of the physics and mechanics, from basic gameplay to driving techniques, if you really want to take this game seriously. Finally, there's Joyride. I think they should have called this mode free play, but I guess Joyride works too, as there is both a free roam area and a high score / roam/stunts mode, much like the mode from Dirt 3. The free roam mode is probably my favourite, as I can just drive around and chill. It would be nice if I could have different stages though, although there may be more stages and I'm just dumb. Overall, I can see how this game had such a divisive launch. Much like this review from Riot Pixels mentions, the game doesn't really know what it wants to be. It's both arcade and simulation at the same time, and much like Grid 2019, although it's still a good game in my opinion, it lacks the charm and character of its predecessors. If you can find it for £6 or about $8 or under, then I'd say it's worth picking up. It should give you a good 15 hours or so at least if you play each mode, but any more than that and the lack of personality coupled with the albeit minor issues dampened the experience. So that's the video. As mentioned at the start, if you're new around here, I'd appreciate it if you'd check out other playlists coming up, and if you made it to the end, comment homework is cool, well when it's about video games anyway. Thanks for watching, see ya.